Alright, so here's a quick job. We have a 2002 International hook lift truck with a DT466E engine and a Borg Kysor fan clutch. It's air operated with air coming in on the front side. It's a K22. Here are the relevant part numbers for this particular truck and this particular clutch. We had a come back from a job. We noticed a weird smell in the truck. Couldn't figure out what it was. Let it go. Didn't get any more thought to it. We couldn't find it. We figured it'd show up. Next job, next day we worked, taking the truck across town. It started to overheat. Nothing serious, like enough to make the light go off, but it never went in the red on the gauge. Anywho, got to the looked, couldn't find anything wrong. Couldn't find anything obviously wrong. We're able to still, we were close to the job, so we went ahead and limped to the job, knocked it out. It was just a quick getting the tree down. Took like an hour, and we had to drive back to the shop anyway, so drove back to the shop. On the way back, the truck didn't overheat. The fan did lock up. I noticed on the way there, I couldn't remember it locking up, and it seemed like it should have been, because you can hear the fan very, very noticeably when it locks up, especially at highway speeds or fast engine speeds. Anywho, went to looking at the truck, and sure enough, I went to looking, trying to figure out the problem, and the air line that comes from the solenoid right there, and then it runs up and comes to the fan shroud on the other side of that hose. You can just see the top of it right there. Anyways, there was a small hole in it, and we could hear an audible air leak. So our assumption is, or presumption is, that the clutch is spring on, and you apply air to release the clutch with a reduced pressure from the hole in the line. It still had some pressure getting to the clutch, or still had some, the airflow coming out of the leak would have still made some pressure on the clutch trying to make it release, but not quite fully releasing. And so our assumption is that that day when we had that weird smell, that was the friction lining in the clutch burning. So today we're going to get that changed out, and it's a pretty straightforward job. You can change out the whole clutch. I have a new clutch in stock, but instead I just pulled the friction material out, which it came as a circle, more or less like that, and yep, just like that. Anyway, that side, the side I'm not holding, this side was together, and it already had a split in it right there, so I used a knife and scored it and broke it in two. On the back side of the clutch, stab light, you can see we have these little plates right here. There's 3 of them with 2 bolts, 2 little 8mm headed bolts or screws. They hold in the friction material, so I've already broken those loose. I'll spin those out. I might have to apply air to the clutch to help the friction lining release, but then the friction lining will slide out. I'll break it so that I can get it back around the hub, and then I can swap in the new one, put the 6 bolts back in, and it's back ready to go. So I used a 1/4 inch drive 8mm socket, which will fit between the fans. Like I said, I already broke them loose. There's one. Two. Three. Four. And you can actually see this friction's already coming out. Like whoever replaced it the same way that we are. Hot. So don't even have to remove that last one, doesn't look like. Well, we're missing one piece. So I need to spin it and find it. So that side goes together, so we're missing one piece. And it just fell out. So there's the third piece. We'll take a look at that in a second. So I've got 4 bolts. You can see those are shiny. There is a small lip on them. Not a big deal. And if it is, like I said, I have a replacement clutch. But no point in going through the hassle of pulling the whole clutch to just reline it. So we'll see. I might have to apply air, like I said, to get it in. Maybe not. Or I drop it. It's not wanting to slide underneath that keeper, or the last back plate. So let me turn the key on. Which I've got to retrim this line. We plugged it and unplugged it a few times. It's not quite sealing. It's a push to connect on the solenoid, but it's a compression fitting on the face of the clutch. And all right. Back these 2 out. And try again. All right. There's one. All right, there's number 2. Well, it's already tightening up. I'll leave the key on. We're getting a low air pressure warning, but I'll leave it on until I get these tightened up in case there's a So before, I should have shown that on camera, but before I replace the frictions, the fan would freewheel. As you can tell now, with just one of those tight, it's substantially has substantial more friction. And in case y'all are curious, it is hot in Mississippi without a fan running. But the audio would be pretty terrible. Alrighty. That's pretty much going to be it. So there's what I removed. Whoever replaced it before looks like they did the same thing. It's possible it broke on its own, but I doubt it. I don't know why they would break it into 3 pieces. But you can see it's had some wear. But that's the job. Hope this saves somebody some work in the future.